Hi there, welcome back to True Gooner, and in this video here I'm just going to basically reflect and do an end of season review for Arsenal. Now, what a season this has been. Ups, downs, lots of highs, but also a hell of a lot of lows. And I'm just going to, like I said, I'm just going to do a review of the season on how I think it's gone, and then after this I will do my end of season awards and also discussing about what the future ahead. So I'm going to do it in the same way as if you've seen people like DT do their season reviews, where I'm just going to break it into competition order to do this. So first of all, we're going to start with the League Cup, EFL Cup, Carling Cup, Capital One Cup, whatever you want to call it. We started off okay-ish in that competition. We did dispatch of Nottingham Forest and Reading very well, where we gave the youngsters and a couple of our reserve players a chance, and they did very well in those two games. However, we did get knocked out by Southampton in the quarter-finals, which was not very good, but most fans, to be very fair, didn't really seem to be bothered because they'll be more focused on other competitions like the Prem, Europe, FA Cup. But still, that game wasn't very good, and obviously they beat us. So that was the end of that story. A competition which we haven't won for a long time, by the way, the League Cup, so it didn't work out this year. Now I'll talk about the Champions League. And when we saw the Champions League draw back in August, when we saw the group we were going to go with, we had PSG, FC Basel and Ludogorets, which we all thought at the time, not too bad. An opportunity to top the group, and quite a simple group that we've had for quite a while. Obviously, we got two deserved draws against PSG, and obviously we dispatched of Basel and Ludogorets very comfortably. Especially the one that really runs to mind was when we were 2-0 down against Ludogorets and pulled it back to 3-2. Of course, it's remembered very well because Ozil scored that fantastic goal, which did put us through to the last 16. But what we really wanted to do was top the group. And when we played PSG, we got a 2-2 draw, which looked like, it's going to be the same old story of finishing second, then getting drawn against one of the big teams in the next round. But we had to go into that last game and against Basel, and we dispatched them 4-1. We did our job, but then we looked over and we saw Ludogorets somehow got a draw away at PSG, which did mean we topped the group in the Champions League. So a little bit of smiles to do with it. And then, surely, because that meant when we topped a group that we will get an easier draw in the last 16. I wouldn't say an easier draw, an easy draw, just an easier draw, like a team that we should beat. But who did we come against? No other than Bayern Munich. And obviously the first leg was away. And to be very fair, in the first half of that game, we did go 1-0 behind earlier on. But then we pulled it back to 1-1 before half-time. And then at half-time, we all went in there thinking, you know what? We got that vital away goal. Good so far. Even if we lose 2-1, it will not be bad. Of course, we would rather win or have a draw. But seriously, just keep it low. But then what happened in the second half? A total capitulation as soon as Koscielny went off. And then we ended up losing that game 5-1. They were just banging in goals for fun, Bayern Munich, and making us a mockery. Which, got most Arsenal fans, pretty much every Arsenal fan, including myself, in such a bad mood. And then that was a time, really, when all the Wenger out people really made their voices clear and got all the protests started again, because fans had just about had enough. But we still had to do that second leg at the Emirates, despite us being 5-1 down and we knew the tie was over. In that first half, we did actually do very well. It was a good half when Theo Walcott got the goal. which put us 1-0 up before half-time, which we all thought, you know what, we just have to give it a go and just play for pride. But then, when Koscielny gets sent off again, what happened in the second half? Again, a total capitulation, and once again, Bayern Munich smacking 5 goals past us, which made us losing 10-2 on aggregate, which is just not acceptable whatsoever, especially with a huge club like Arsenal. It is totally not acceptable. Because we're meant to be going into that competition aiming to win it, because you're in it to win it, not in there to get embarrassed. Oh. So that was that. That was poor, the Champions League. Very, very poor. It started off all right, but in the end, once again, very poor. Not another year of not reaching the quarterfinals. Now I'm going to talk about the Premier League. We had a very big first game at home to Liverpool. And after all summer, we signed Granit Xhaka, which was a very good signing. And we signed Rob Holding, which I thought was a good signing. But we went into that game unprepared, as usual, as we had the likes of Giroud, Ramsey, Sanchez, etc. all out because of the Euros and the Copa America. So we went into that game with 2 inexperienced centre-backs of Rob Holding and Callum Chambers, and of course no recognised centre-forwards. And then, yes, the first half of that game was very good, was decent, because we went 1-0 up, and then which we were playing well, and then we conceded a stupid free kick at the end of the first half. Coutinho got that vital goal, that brilliant free kick, which put us to 1-1 at half-time. And some fans were thinking, you know what, even if we get a draw in this game, then it will be a good result. But no, a total capitulation in that second half. Liverpool basically scored 3 more goals inside the first 60 minutes to put them 4-1 up. A little bit of a fight back to try and put it back, but we ended up losing that game 4-3. And then most fans, including myself to be honest, were just like, oh no, another season of mediocrity, another season, oh no. And in the end, it turned out to be a big, big costing point, and I'll come to that in a minute, and I think you all know why. So, and then we went in that second game, got a 0-0 draw away at Leicester, and once again we hadn't signed anyone else apart from Xhaka and Holding, and once again it didn't go down well with the fans because we were craving about we needing a striker. And then just before the international break, we dispatched Watford 3-1, got our first win of the season, which was a good performance. And then we did actually go and buy some players, Mustafi and Lucas Perez. Obviously Mustafi, great centre-back, and Lucas Perez, okay, not the world-class striker and the big name we wanted, but we said it will do for now. And he actually did very well in this season, to be honest, but he wasn't starting a lot. And now there's huge rumours that he wants to leave, which I feel very sorry for that way, because I feel he deserved more game time. But let's carry on with the season. So the season then went really well, because we got some good wins against Southampton, Hull, even that massive win against Chelsea, and we dispatched of Burnley, Sunderland. Okay, we got that draw against Middlesbrough and dispatch of Swansea. And then some fans were thinking, you know what, this is really could be a new Arsenal, because there's a bit of steel in that team, a bit of grit, something which we've not had for years. And the team's actually really playing well. But then we did get back-to-back draws against Spurs and Man United, which were 2 very poor performances, unlucky draws to be honest. But then we picked up again, beat Bournemouth, beat West Ham convincingly, beat Stoke. So at the moment things were going well. But then just before Christmas we hit a pivotal period where we faced Everton and Manchester City away from home. And we personally thought these are two games that will define our season, and it will prove whether it's the same old, or whether this really is the new Arsenal. But then they both ended up in defeats. We started off both games very well, where we took the lead, and then the second half of both those games was a total capitulation. And fans like me and most other Arsenal fans said, you know what, it's the same old Arsenal, that's the title gone. And I personally thought that was where the title was lost. So it would have been another season of fighting for fourth. And, people just started getting on Wenger's back again, including myself, because you thought, I saw this last year. But then things did a little bit start to pick up. We got wins against West Brom, Palace, Swansea and Burnley. But then also during that period, we got a stupid draw against Bournemouth. Pathetic. Well, okay, we were 3-0 down and we pulled it back to 3-3. But while we were even 3-0 down in the first place against Bournemouth, was absolutely pathetic and garbage. And then, just as it looked like things were starting to go up on a bit and we're starting to get back into gear, it went downhill again because we put in stupid performances against Watford. That first half of that game was utter awful. Ended up losing that. And then we played Chelsea, a big game, and Chelsea at that moment were flying high and 7 points clear of us. And then completely played awful and they played us off the park and we ended up losing that. And then at that time it looked like fourth place was even on the line. And then I have to say, since then in the league, it just went downhill and downhill. We did beat Hull, but then when we played the likes of Liverpool at Anfield, another big game for Arsenal to redeem themselves. And this is where the manager made an absolutely stupid decision of leaving Alexis Sanchez, our best people, on the bench. And when he came on, he tried to make things happen, but we still lost 3-1. And then West Brom, awful. We lost to that one. And then it really did look like top four was seriously in jeopardy of Arsenal not actually making it for the first time in 20 years under Wenger's reign. And then after the international break, we got a draw against Manchester City, beat West Ham comfortably, our first win in the league then for a while. And then Crystal Palace came to town and it was another terrible display. Them beating us 3-0. And then this was the first time I've seen it for a long time where the fans actually started turning on the players and shouting, "You're not fit to wear the shirt." Which they weren't at that time because the performances lately, and especially in that game as well, was just so awful. It was unforgivable. And I did feel very sorry for Hector Bellerin as he seemed to get most of the abuse and most of the attention as he was over that side and the fans weren't giving him the ball back and yelling at him. I did feel very sorry for him, even though he was not playing very well, but he got most of it. And then we got a vital win away at Middlesbrough and got a win against Leicester. Narrow wins, but vital wins, which kept our top four hopes still possible. And then it was a big one. The last North London derby at the Lane. Spurs were flying high. Well, we weren't. And everyone was like, including me, come on, put in a performance. Doesn't matter what time of the year it is. Doesn't matter where we are in the league. Arsenal and Tottenham is always a big game. But what do? We put in another garbage display and they dispatched with us 2-0, which meant that was the first time they finished above us in 20 years. And then after that, we started picking up again. And you know why that was? It's because top four was seriously on the line. And it's every time when top four is on the line at this stage, Arsenal just seem to get on with it. We beat Man United. we beat Southampton away and we beat Stoke away. And all three of those are our bogey teams, especially Southampton and Stoke away from home, and Man United with Mourinho, because Wenger hadn't beaten Mourinho until then. So it looked like things like maybe we could just sneak in. We beat Sunderland 2-0. And then came to the last game of the season where we played Everton. And we knew that we had to win that and had to hope. But either Liverpool or Man City lost their games. But we did beat Everton 3-1. And Manchester City, but unfortunately Manchester City and Liverpool both won their games, which meant we didn't qualify for the Champions League. We finished 5th on 75 points. And it was not a good feeling, because I really didn't want Europa League. So the Premier League campaign was also a disaster, as well as the Champions League and the League Cup. So the only cup we could possibly win was the FA Cup, which will bring me onto that campaign now. We started off away at Preston, which started off badly, but then we pulled it back and got a win. And then next round we played Southampton away, which was a bogey ground, but luckily at that point Southampton were focused on other things like the EFL Cup, because they were coming on the back of it, going into an EFL Cup final, so they put a load of their reserve players out, and we put some of ours out as well, and we dispatched them 5-0. What a day that was. I was at that game, and it was a brilliant day and a brilliant away day experience. I don't usually go to many away games as much as I would love to, but I was fortunate enough to get a ticket for that. And then the luck of the draw really favoured us, as we played two non-league sides of Sutton and Lincoln and dispatched them both very comfortably. But then was a big test when we played Man City at Wembley. At that time, no one gave us a chance in hell, because at that time we were just playing so badly and everyone was like, oh, Arsenal have got no chance. But then Arsenal actually turned up and we got a good win. 2-1 win against Man City, which sent us into the FA Cup final against Chelsea. And once again, no one gave us a hope in hell, because Arsenal was on a low. The same week as we missed out on top 4, Chelsea had won the league convincingly. But Arsenal really turned up, and it was just brilliant. Sanchez got the early goal, and then Chelsea levelled it up, and we were all like, no, because before then we were playing so well, literally dominated them, and that, like, please not let us pay for all those missed chances. But then who pops up for the goods? Aaron Ramsey came up with the goods just after a couple of minutes after we conceded, and then we were back in the driving seats, and yeah, that got us the FA Cup triumph. For the 13th time, we're now the most successful FA Cup team, and of course Arsene Wenger is the most successful FA Cup manager. We thought that was a perfect time for him to go. Even I said he should go, which he didn't. I'll come on to that in a minute. So the FA Cup, we did still win a trophy, and we just said it was a great way to end a horrible season, because the season wasn't good, but we still won something, unlike Spurs and Man City and Liverpool. So we did get a trophy, and which is something which we didn't do before, but in the last 4 years we have won 3 FA Cups, which is a fair achievement. But what we all wanted was for us to be challenging in the Prem and in Europe, which is something we're clearly not doing. This is why we wanted change, but unfortunately Arsene Wenger did sign a 2-year contract. They clearly decided that he is still the man for the job, which divided opinions, because some fans were like, you know what, he deserves to stay on. And some fans like me just said, no, we need change. And I still stand by that now. I'm still not too happy about that, but it's been done now, unfortunately. We just have to move on and hope he changes. And this summer it's so important we sign up Mesut Ozil and Alexis Sanchez. It's so important. And also after you've done that, he buys some top players around them. We need some. But of course, we've got a massive battle on doing both of that as well, because we've allowed this situation of Ozil and Sanchez to have only 1 year left on their contracts, which meant, sorry, there's a fly behind me, which meant that if they didn't get signed up this summer, they would walk away for nothing next summer. And now lots of other teams, including Atletico Madrid, Juventus, Bayern Munich, even the likes of Chelsea, Man City and Man United are going to be monitoring Sanchez's situation. So we have to get him signed up. It's just so important. I keep raving that so many times. You've seen my videos on the course of, since I've done YouTube, I've mentioned how important it is to keep him. And also we have to buy some top players, a couple of good names, someone like Lacazette, Mbappe, Douglas Costa, Isco. But of course we know that's going to be tough work as well, because we haven't got Champions League football. So that's going to be hard to attract the big players, but just literally pay them what they want and persuade them that we are serious next season, and then we have to move on from there. So that season, lots of highs, but lots and lots of lows, and the FA Cup win was good, but it does paper over the cracks, which has been a poor season. And I still think there needs to be changes. And also on the board as well, hopefully Usmanov does come in and make a further bid for Kroenke to finally go. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see that. Now, just before I go, I'm going to be doing my end of season awards. First of all, the game of the season. I'm going to say the 3-0 win against Chelsea, because that was just a fantastic win. We have them 3-0 up inside the first half an hour, I believe. Inside the first half of that first half. Goals from Sanchez, Ozil and Walcott, which really got the fans excited that we're finally able to beat Chelsea after so long. And that game all round was just a brilliant performance from back to front. So my game of the season is the 3-0 win against Chelsea back in September. Most improved player of the season, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. He's been literally immense this season. Fantastic, immense, excellent. So Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Also very important we keep hold of him, because again he's another player that that's got 1 year left on his contract. So it's important we sign him up as well, because he's really proving that he's reaching his peak now, and we're really seeing the best out of him. Flop of the season now. To be honest with you, there's a few candidates for this. One is Nacho Monreal. One is Francis Coquelin. One is, okay, you could probably say Mesut Ozil. This is a very tough one, flop of the season. One is Aaron Ramsey. However, all them they did pick up towards the end, but during the course of the season, they haven't been good. Ooh. Flop of the season. This is a very, very hard one. You know what? Oh dear. Oh, this is tough. I think I need help for you in the comments as well. Flop of the season. You can't give it to Santi Cazorla, that's for sure, because he's just been injured. So you can't give it to him. I'm probably going to give it to Francis Coquelin, because this season he really just hasn't been the same player. And he started off the season all right, but he's just really gone downhill, and now you're seeing Granit Xhaka and Aaron Ramsey start ahead of him. But also some other candidates were Aaron Ramsey, Nacho Monreal, who just haven't been the same this season. So flop of the season, I'm going to probably give it to Francis Coquelin. Let me know in the comments below who you give it to. Goal of the season, Giroud's goal, scorpion kick against Crystal Palace. What a fantastic goal. It was an absolute privilege to see that live as well. And also the build-up play to that was just phenomenal. So it's definitely got to be that. I personally think it's definitely the Premier League goal for the season, no matter what anyone thinks. Player for season, Alexis Sanchez. 30 goals this season, so many assists. it's got to be Alexis Sanchez. The guy is an absolute genius. Please sign him up, Arsenal. Player for season, Alexis Sanchez. Moment of the season, I think there's only one you can choose, which is the FA Cup win of the season. It's the FA Cup triumph, because, like I said, a great to win trophies, and a good way to end a very disappointing season. Young Player of the Year, I'm going to give it to Rob Holding. Absolutely brilliant this season, and despite the fact he's only 20, he's come into the team and he's just been brilliant. He's proved out to be a very good signing, so I will give Arsene Wenger a bit of credit for that one. So, Young Player of the Season, Rob Holding. Of course, last year was won by Hector Bellerin, but Rob Holding wins it for me this year. So that's been another video of mine. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. Leave also below in the comments below what you would rate this season out of 10. Because of the FA Cup triumph, I'm going to push it up to only a 5. If we hadn't have won that, I would have said 4 or 3 or 3.5 or 4. But because we won the cup and we won a trophy, I will push it up to a 5. Let me know in the comments below what you would do. And yeah, thanks for watching another video of mine. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and I'll be speaking to you very soon. And keep supporting the team. And yeah, onwards and upwards. Come on, you Reds.